you ever found anything in a bag of clients' receipts that you wish you'd never seen? In this episode, we're going to talk about boundaries, staying safe, and nipple tassels.
We're gonna cover a lot. More than nipples.
Well, we were thinking about the kind of things. I think my experience has been very tame.
Yes.
I haven't really come across anything really bad. I had a client who tried to claim for his pants once. That was the worst, I'll be honest with you.
I think as well, if you think about when you started working, you were more in a digital space.
Yeah.
And when I started my business back in 2003, it was a lot more shoeboxes, going to clients' offices, picking up bags, actually sitting in people's offices and seeing things. Like, there was a lot more things that accidentally ended up in the books, which doesn't seem to happen as often, but we have heard from our community it does still happen digitally as well. People accidentally take photos of the wrong things when
Hang on a minute.
Yeah, so often I've seen the odd belly or toes that are actually like in the snapshot.
Okay.
But sometimes there's reflections.
Oh, John.
So just don't look. This is why it's good to like set up auto-publish and let the machine learning do it for you. But yeah, I've seen some fun things.
Oh, I'd never even thought of that. I mean, I thought we were going to talk about like kind of gross stuff in...
Oh yeah, we can still talk about that too. Actually, first of all, before we get started, I actually read a post which, because we were looking through our group about what people, because we'd seen lots of it, and we were laughing about it. But then I was looking at other people that had these kind of things, discoveries, shall we say, and I came across this on an accounting forum. So I thought you'd find this funny. Okay, so was going through some expense variances and saw a $6,000 invoice for Anubis Incorporated, and it piqued my interest, so I looked it up, and it was for a body disposal crime scene cleanup company. So I then had to go and have a look at the incident reports. And it said that these two people got into a fight over one of them throwing chicken bones on the other's patio, and one of them got stabbed. The report made mention that there was no blood at the scene, which I found odd. So they then had to open up the attached pictures, and there was blood all over the patio, the sidewalk, and also someone's car. What? So this is what I'm saying. You never, like... Everything has a financial. So if you have got to have a crime scene cleaned up, there's a company that's going to do that, and there's going to be an invoice.
Oh my God.
We get to see a lot. One of our members, Lynn, said, yuck, yuck, yuck. I've had a pile of very sticky receipts to prize apart today. Not sure what the sticky substance was.
Poor Lynn.
Poor Lynn. I mean, I remember back in the day, before vaping, lots of times I'd end up with bags of receipts that stunk of smoke.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd have to, like, find somewhere in my house that I could store them, and like, under the stairs or something, because they would, like, stink out the whole house. Like, paper, really holds on to smells.
Oh, it's so gross.
I know.
And we still charge £15 an hour
to go through someone's sticky receipts. Honestly, it's
Got any sticky stories, Joe?
I do have a sticky story.
Do you really?
Back in the day, it's 2010. I remember because I was 8 months pregnant.
Okay.
With Rosie, and I got I think it was a Facebook page message asking if I was available to do bookkeeping, and they were in my local town, and they asked if I would go around for a meeting. I was like, absolutely fine. I said, what is it that your business does? Can I look up your business? And they said that they were a TV and media application company.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. Now, I know this sounds strange, but apps weren't a thing.
Yep.
So I didn't really know what it meant. Anyway, I got myself dressed up. So she was born in August. So this is July. It was hot. And I remember putting on this cotton dress, but I hadn't really thought it through, right? Anyway, very heavily pregnant. I went to this house in a street that I know quite well. And it was a lovely house. And I remember him saying, oh, my office is in the attic. So they were 8 months pregnant.
Oh, Joe.
Going up the stairs. His wife was downstairs, said hello to her, went upstairs. And actually, I actually remember thinking, oh, he works from home. This is great because I work from home. So he's going to think that, I'm a good business. He works from home. So I went up to the eaves of this house, this Victorian house. And he said, do you want to sit on this sofa? And I sat on this sofa and it was really low. And as I sat down, my dress just kind of split open and I couldn't prise the bits together because my belly was so fat.
Oh,
and I remember just being so awkward on this sofa, like sitting down really low. Anyway, he sat at his computer and turned around and spoke to me and was telling me about that they make things for TV and media and things like this. And I was like, okay. And I started doing the bookkeeping, and it was his house was gorgeous. It was like done out really beautifully. They seemed very middle class, and I was like, yeah, this sounds like a really good business. And so I actually took a bag of receipts away with me to start working on the business. And at the time, my sister, who was much younger, obviously at the time, so how old was she? She was like a late teenager, I think 19 maybe. She used to help me and work from home as well. So she used to work part-time at mine. And we used to do a thing where we'd get in the living room and like open up the bag of receipts and like just literally tip it on the floor, which cracks me up now because no one does this really anymore, do you? But tip it on the floor and then like just try and organise it. It's a bit like doing a puzzle. I now realise, I love puzzles. I think that this is that kind of thing. There was some organisation, and I'd sit like, and it'd be like a clock around me with areas, and it'd either be like months or suppliers or something. And I remember her picking up this receipt and looking at it, and she was like, "Tasslers? What's tasslers?" And I was like, and then she was like, "Nipple Tassels," and I was like, what?
Oh my God, I've just made a connection. Your sister now writes like saucy books.
Yeah. Really steamy books. Oh, yeah. So I was like, she was like, where? And I was like, oh, I started realising there was a lot of hotel receipts and invoices.
God, she got an education from that.
Yeah, she really did. And then, so first of all, we had to have the conversation about how do you categorise in the nominal count nipple tassels? And we thought it was cost of sales.
Yeah, I would go with that too.
Cost of sales. Like, you can't sell it unless she's wearing nipple tassels.
Right.
Anyway, so yeah. So we were going through that. And then she found a report.
Okay.
And she started reading it, and I was like, what have you found? I was like, maybe give it to me. Like, I was very, like, protective. Maybe give it to me. And it was someone's sexual health STD clinic results. And
GDPR.
they weren't good. And they were accidentally in our receipts. And we had to then go and say, back and say, I think someone needs to see this. But actually, we worked with them for a really long time. Like, they were a really good business. And what I realised is that every business needs a bookkeeper.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Did you get referrals from them?
Actually, I think we worked with them for quite a while, but not with, actually, just with other businesses in the local town. Now, he was a business owner.
Successful man.
Yeah, they were making lots of money. And I mean, to be fair, at the time, like, there was we were in a different day but actually I was a bit impressed that they were actually looking after people and getting them tested and things, because it was a bit of, we'd just come out of the, 90s and everything was a bit mad. Yeah. And it was, I don't know, I was actually, that seemed like a good employment scheme at the time. Wasn't an option. I was never offered a job.
You just auditioned in your like
I accidentally
indecent dress
auditioned
on a very low
and then realised that I was 8 months pregnant on the casting couch.
Oh, wow. I mean, I don't think anyone has a story that can follow that. I've been very sheltered. I've lived a very sheltered life.
Have you been sheltered, or did you have really good boundaries and put out a different persona? And then people, like, maybe I just attracted it. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. I think that's important, though. Boundaries are really important.
Yeah, and back then, like, why didn't I think I could ask, what do you mean TV and media applications? What is that? I want to understand it. He obviously didn't want to tell me. Yeah. And to be honest, I still really don't know everything. You know, I saw the money. He was doing his VAT. He was always, everything was on time. He was meticulous. He was like, you know, he was a really good client, always paid well.
Yeah.
And, you know, on time, was very respectful. There was no issue, but people might have an issue. Like, and you get to choose who your client is.
I'm also thinking about, like, from a like boundaries and safety point of view, not because of the industry that client was in or anything, but just thinking about you as a woman going to this guy's house. Like, you met his wife, and I expect there was like a level of, okay, it's not just me in this guy's house, but that there's also like, I can't imagine now going to a client's house or
you can see why I ended up building a virtual business where I didn't meet anybody like face to face. Like I look back and think, God, that was stupid. But I don't think it was naivety. It was on my third baby. I don't think I was naive. I don't know. I just didn't. When people, I don't know. I think about it for like estate agents, and I think my friend was an estate agent. And I used to go, "You're going to these houses on your own. You don't know who you're meeting." I don't know.
Yeah,
that felt. But going to a meeting with someone about their VAT return, I didn't think about safety.
No. But I can think about like going to offices to do, you know, to meet a prospect, and it might be like an industrial estate or something, and no one else is in, or you're quite isolated from like the next unit, and like anything could happen to you in that situation. It's really sad that we have to think like that, but I think that we really do. We really do need to make sure like someone knows where we are. 100%. We have some kind of level of physical safety and protection. Like, we carry alarms around with us. We've said this before. It's like, it just is a sensible thing to do. We always try and know where each other is.
We've got each other on Find Your iPhone. I always know where you are.
That is good, because I don't always know where I am.
Sometimes we're together and we still don't know where we are. But yeah, I think it's recognising that because we're in this very professional industry, we still need to, like, not everyone is going to have exactly the same kind of professionalism, and whether that is the fact that people don't respect you by handing over smoky receipts or dirty or rubbish accidentally or whatever it is, you get to choose and you get to set your own boundaries. And I think it's really important to build a business that reflects your values and what you feel okay with, because everyone's going to be different.
So that's about putting out your personal brand, building, because they say like that is what people say about you when you're not in the room. So making sure that people who have this sort of expectation of the kind of person you are, and you get to kind of curate that you get to shape that by sort of curating what you're putting out to the world, and say, this is the kind of person I am, these are the kind of clients I work with, this is what to expect when you work with me. And we can do that because we've got social media, which is free, and marketing and the internet. We didn't have that in the early 2000s.
No, we didn't have that. But we also have the ability to change our mind, which is something that I have not always felt empowered to do. We had a great message from one of our ambassadors. She said, I had a client that I also sacked, she said. They wanted me to put through a PlayStation 5 and 2 build your own castle forts as office entertainment through the books, even though he had no employees. His argument was that his hours required him to have his children there sometimes, and his family should not suffer because of his work. She explained how he could legitimately buy these things through trivial benefits. However, he told her that it wasn't her gift to tell him what he could and couldn't put through his business. So she said, that's fine, but it is my gift to decide who I work with. So I told him to find another accountant. So that is a great way of saying, good for her, that we still have control. Even if we've made a mistake, we can change our mind and set our boundaries, and our values might be misaligned later on in a relationship, and that's fine as well.
Other things that people have found in their receipts. I've got one here that says, as a young trainee doing a very disorganized dentist.
We know what you mean, yeah.
Back in the days of bin bag jobs, I got to sort through false teeth, denture moulds. Oh my gosh, that's like those like plaster of Paris thing. Amongst the unopened supplier post and biscuit crumbs. Lovely. Oh my God, this is good. This is a good one. A half-eaten sandwich. Okay.
And
a partly used tube of anti-chafing cream from a landscape gardener who had a sit-on mower.
Oh my God. I think this is the thing. Like, it's not something that's gonna, like, it's not like a turn on. So I think it's got to be an accident. It's got to be an accident. What about this one? I had receipts for condoms from a musician. I presume he thought they might be tax deductible groupie expenses. Absolutely essential, obviously.
Oh my gosh.
This one, we have do the accounts for a husband and wife partnership. The wife also has a sole trader that we prepare the accounts for. And amongst her drawings is a Tinder subscription.
They obviously talk about their accounts separately then.
Wow. So how do we help our clients?
Let's help them.
Do better.
Yeah. I suppose, do you know what? I think something that's really good, we got to remember when you think about those like bin bag client, like obviously MTD, we're not going to have this so much anymore, but that kind of client might have never had a bookkeeper or accountant before. Mm-hmm. So there is an education piece. Like we need to train them on how to be a good client. So I think there's stuff we can do where we say, this is how we manage our paperwork. Mm-hmm. We use Dext or we use Apron, or we bring something in and we actually demonstrate to them how I was just thinking about your client with like the belly photo.
Exactly. Yeah. And I used to say to them, and that remember, I need to have all four corners of the receipt in the picture.
That's so good.
Because I can zoom in and see the detail, but if you've cut something off, I can't see it. Sorry. But maybe something else needs to be watch for reflective surfaces. And maybe there's like a place that you like put these down and take photos.
When you're at your desk,
yes.
Which is not a reflective surface, this is how we like to take.
But maybe we just tell the funny story and just say, look,
just so you know.
Careful.
Yeah.
Just watch it out. Have you ever seen on Facebook posts like the funniest things of like Facebook what's it called, Marketplace, where people are trying to take photos of mirrors and they cover themselves in like tablecloths and then just put their arm out, or they're trying to get the angle but they can't hide themselves. It's hilarious. I could watch and look at those all day.
I am looking for that tonight.
It's brilliant. But yeah, I think we underestimate. Some people don't know how to take a photograph that is appropriate, and I think this comes back to we assume so much, and when we talk about speaking to your client in their language, and it's not dumbing it down, and because that makes it sound like that they're stupid. They're not stupid, but if they've never done this before, if they've never taken photos of their receipts before, it's even explaining to them. I used to say this all the time, like have a little plastic wallet as for like the guys that had vans, that used to end up scooping up from the dashboard and putting it in a carrier bag and giving it to me. I'd say have a little plastic. I actually used to give childminders. I had childminders a lot as clients, and I used to buy those little expandable folders, and I used to put a plastic wallet with each month on it.
Nice.
And so just put the receipts in each of those months and then hand me the whole thing.
Yeah.
And little things like that, if you've got somebody that's going through transition towards digital, you might need to give them a bit of hand-holding, but just don't assume. And then, like, I hate it when that's something I just won't stand for anymore, is like people like talking about clients badly behind their backs. Like, I know we've been laughing today, but if it was a client of mine, I would like take them and just say, this is how we do things, and onboard them correctly.
Yeah.
Because this has been funny. And obviously over the years, and we'd love to hear more funny stories of things, because at the end of the day, this is we're all very, very professional, but sometimes like things happen. It's funny and we're okay. It's okay to be laughing about these things. We often get, people think that in our profession we're really boring and so straight-laced. And I cannot tell you how far that is from the truth. If you've ever been, I mean, after COVID, we had a meetup in Wales. The hotel ran out of Prosecco. We drunk it dry. A hotel. So we know how to party, and it's okay to have this. But just on a serious note, how do we mitigate this so that someone isn't having to pick up and see these things, especially our team members? Maybe not so hard-skinned, thick-skinned, hard-skinned. I'm losing the will.
I loved this. I'd love to have more conversations like this and hear more from our community. If you have a funny story you want to share with us, please drop us an email, hello@sixfigurebookkeeper.com, or let us know in the comments underneath this video what you've enjoyed, and we'll see you next time for another episode of the Bookkeepers Podcast.
I can't wait to hear more of your stories. See you next week for another episode of the Bookkeepers Podcast.